When someone is talking to me and I'm like in my world as usual, um, I just kind of give the responsive like gesture um, that would accordingly fit with whatever the tone is that I hear from them. As far as like, oh, the weather's beautiful. Uh huh. I agree. And continue like contemplating the world in my head and all the patterns I see and just observing everything around me. And it's almost to thwart being further drawn into a conversation that I feel like is so exhausting. Like now you bring up my special interest of psychology and picking apart the mind and understanding like human behaviors and just exploring all the potential of a human being, especially the internal, then I'm all like into it. I'm invested. I can have a conversation for hours. But just, how are you? That simple question is, I'm like, well, what do you mean, how am I? Like, how is my mental well-being? How is my physical health? Like, how am I feeling as far as coming to work today? How am I feeling as far as the social situation of you just asking me how I'm feeling? Like, I don't know. So, like, just the response I know is just say fine. Fine is camouflage. Fine, like, lets me, like, continue on, like, I guess unnoticed. I'm not triggering any alarms in this creature's head, so I can continue observing without worrying about, like, um, falling out of the camouflage, I guess, if that makes sense. Like, I want to maintain that observer status so I understand to the best of my ability all these patterns I'm watching go around. Like, then when I mean go around, I mean watching people. Like, I'll go from observing people and then I go back inward and I'm contemplating, like, what was that observation? What was that pattern? Like, contemplating the physical like aspects of the face and the body and what their life must be like and the emotions they must express, and just in general trying to contemplate what it is like to function with their mind and in their body, like this very just detached kind of contemplation. And I very much enjoy it, but I know that that's probably not that neurotypical. So I tend to, keep that to myself most of the time and just continue about my day and smile and grimace and laugh and make whatever facial gesture coincides with whatever it is that, that I can infer that their tone is expecting of me. Um, but for the most part, like, that still is incredibly draining because I feel like, well, what is my goal of all this? Where is all this going? What is my purpose in life? What am I doing here? Is it perpetuating my purpose? Is it perpetuating my understanding of self? And in a sense, yes, I know it is, but then I just expound upon that even more and dissect that thought and just come into a whole other reality I'm experiencing in regards to that. And just in general, I guess, being in a social situation unstructured with kind of just abstract intentions that I'm just responding to in my cognitive processing, I feel like it's kind of draining. Now, I feel like if this were in a school setting and I were like observing people or interacting with them one on one, I feel like that would be very energizing because I could ask the subjects questions. I could ask questions. And that is what I feel I can't do. And I feel if I did, it'd be offensive. And it's not meant to be offensive. I'm just so insatiably curious about everything I observe. But it's at a level that I feel like is invasive for most people. So, hence the draining and exhaustion. I'm doing my best. Fake it till I make it. Been trying to fake the facial gestures forever, and it's still not making that emotion come out in the way that I see it interacting with, or I guess arising within others when they do these things. But I don't know. I know I don't know.